Hi everybody, Mrs. Kaufman. Thank you so much for volunteering to chaperone on our Grounds for Sculpture field trip. The Grounds for Sculpture is a very large outdoor sculpture grounds, about 44 acres of property. It's a fun-filled, very busy, very active day. Keep in mind, it might be very hot, allergy season. So if you're an allergy person like myself, make sure that you take your allergy medicine before you go. Make sure that you wear comfortable shoes. You bring a lot of water. In this trip, we are going to be packing lunch and then taking a time to break and eat for lunch. So make sure you pack a lunch for yourself. Maybe extra waters. We are not doing any shopping or stopping at any of the cafeterias during this trip. So no extra money will be spent. We do ask that you obviously pay very close attention to your students, and if any student ever feels in distress, please contact me immediately. I will be sharing my cell phone number with all of you on the chaperone packet. I'm going to be sending home a chaperone packet with your child prior to the event, and it will look like this. So this is, thank you so much for joining us at the Grounds for Sculpture field trip. These are some of the questions to ask for. These are some of the things that I would really like for the children to cover while you're there. This is some information from the Grounds for Sculpture reminders. This is a map of the facility. So it's broken up into 3 main areas, which is the meadow, the gardens, and the woodlands. So the woodlands is this great big area over here where you'll see Monet's Garden. It has Rhett's Restaurant, which I would highly recommend that you go there for a date with your significant other, maybe obviously at a different time. I have put little asterisks by some of the sculptures that I really want the students to check out. It might be difficult to get to all the areas. If there is a point where someone just needs some downtime, there are 2 indoor spaces that are air conditioned so that you can go and walk through. That is this area over here where the Van Gogh sculpture is. This is where we're going to actually come in. So the buses are going to drop us off here, and then this facility has a bunch of indoor sculptures, and that's the education center that you can definitely spend some time. And then there is another indoor building over here, this one, number 6, which is Motor Exhibits Building. That's an indoor space. So there's definitely 2 indoor spaces that you can go check out if you or any of the students are overheating. There's bathrooms all over the grounds. There's lists of all the sculptures and the numbers and the name and the artist. There's group lunch reminders, so you'll be separated into 2 groups for lunch. We will give you that information as we set up the groups moving forward. There's 2 lunch eating areas, one over here by Peacock Run, and that's usually where we go. And then the other one is, what's the other one? NL. That's Peacock Run. Where's the N? Oh, that's over here. So it's all really in this vicinity over here, which is called Peacock Run, and the peacocks obviously run freely. So what is sculpture? We are giving the students this wonderful opportunity to experience sculpture, not from the Promethean board or from the creative process, but more for the appreciation process. So sculpture, I've shown them this slideshow. There's 2 types of sculpture in the round, which is a type of sculpture that obviously can walk around, and there's depth, and there's texture, and there's volume, and there's all those wonderful artistic words that circulate the whole piece. And there is another style called relief, and relief is when it's flat on the back and only one specific part rises up. So there is one specific relief sculpture that is called the Scream, that the students are looking forward to, and we will map that out for you as necessary. So relief sculpture can also be found on the outsides of cathedrals or buildings where it's the back wall is flat and then this particular piece rises up, and something like this you'd be able to walk around and see the sculpture from all different angles. So sculpture, where can sculpture be found? What materials? So we have representational sculpture, which is sculpture that is of realistic objects, and there is quite a bit of nudity in the property amongst the sculptures. The students have been informed of this, they're well aware. We talked about two of the most famous sculptures in the world, the Venus de Milo and the Michelangelo David, Botticello's Venus de Milo and Michelangelo's David. So the students are prepared for this. If it's something that doesn't make you comfortable, I have put a little X on the map for those areas that you will see some sculptures that represent the human body. We know that the human body is an absolutely wonderful and beautiful subject. If any of the students are not comfortable or kind of giggling, you could just mention to them, Mrs. Kaufman prepared you for this. This is a representational sculpture. If you're not comfortable, just stand over and look at another sculpture because there'll be tons within the area. So that's obviously something very important that we have to discuss. There's bust sculptures. There's tons and tons of abstract sculptures. The grounds for sculpture is based off of the work of this wonderful artist named Seward Johnson. So Seward Johnson is this magnificent figurative sculpture. He is the one that created the grounds for sculpture, and the Seward Johnson Gallery is where we will walk in through the education center, and they have a gorgeous piece to remember 9/11, and his work is phenomenal. So a lot of what you're going to see is Seward Johnson recreating two-dimensional art pieces. So for example, this sculpture is on a very, very large scale. So for the students to really understand how big it is, you don't get the grasp of it unless you go in person. So this is a sculpture that's based off of Henri Matisse's famous The Dance, and this will be in the meadows, and it's overlooking the water, and we'll actually be able to see it from the bus when we pull in. And this fine young lady over there is me. So you could just tell about scale. So that's something that we should be discussing with the students as we're on the trip. What do you notice about the scale of this? Is it life size? Is it larger? Is it smaller? That's all called proportion. We've got, this one is right when you walk out of the education door, you're going to go outside, and this rendition of Van Gogh painting will be right out there. So this is like a real true to scale proportionate sculpture. Renoir, the boating party, is an amazing sculpture. This is found over by the Rats Restaurant and the river. So it's a rendition Seward Johnson created of Renoir's boating party. So it's all of these characters in the painting that have come to life. And many, many, many of these sculptures, well, actually all of the sculptures, unless there's a sign put next to it, you are able to touch and interact with. Here's the Scream. So the Scream is a famous expressionist painting painted by Edvard Munch, and this rendition of the Scream is located on the side of this shed over here. So the Rats Restaurant and the boating party is here, and then a little ways to the north you'll find the Scream painting. There is a beautiful Monet's bridge that they can walk over. This will lead over to the Rats Restaurant. There's lots and lots of abstract sculptures. Okay, so let's move on. The students will be working on a scavenger hunt. So each student will get a packet that looks something like this, if you can help guide them. There are some pictures in here that I'm hoping they would be able to figure out which piece it is, and and check it out. We're talking about, one of the things we talk about is scale. So scale is how small or large something is. And the students, again, will be prepared for this, and they will have a good idea of what to expect before they go on the trip. Let me just see if there's anything else I quickly want to go over. What material? So some of the helpful questions, this is going to be in your packet. Some helpful questions. What sculpture does this sculpture interact with its surroundings, and how? What material do you think this sculpture is made from? Do you think the sculpture is solid or hollow? Oh, how does this make you feel, etc. So there's a lot of these like little conversation pieces on here. I will give you the directions and expectations as far as what group you're reading and where. And then we will go back to the Education Center, which is called officially the Seward Johnson Center for the Arts, the Welcome Center. Okie doke. Trying to think if there's anything else. Let me go back here. So sculpture permission slips. So 2D versus 3D. We did the voting party. We did the scream. We did the dancers. There's also, in the entryway to the meadow, is this Grant Wood American Gothic, something very fun to check out. It's an amazing experience, and I'm so excited that the students are able to have this experience and that you have volunteered to help us. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to myself. The email is kkaufman, KKAUFMAN@CWCBOE.org. And we look forward to this wonderful event. Thank you.